Hello, Spirit House here. Um, I just wanted to kind of elaborate on my last video as far as the musical thing is concerned. Um, the reason I went to so many Dead shows as a child is because at first I was like opposed to it. My mother was like, "I have to work late tonight. Would you like to go to a concert with two of my friends who were younger, about, like I said before, halfway between the age of me and my mother?" And so I was like, "Ooh, that's cool. They're in their early 20s." Yeah, I was 13 at the time. I'm like, well, that's cool. But at the same time, I was like, the Grateful Dead, ugh. Because I was like kind of into heavy metal and at the time. And I was like kind of into punk rock, actually. I had a grown out black mohawk at the time. So I was kind of a rebel against the norm. I was always a rebel against the norm, actually, conventionality. But at any rate, I was like, okay, well, it's cool. It's live music. I'll go. And I wasn't real excited about it, but I went. And at the time, my home life wasn't very stable. Um, it wasn't a stable thing. I was dealing with a stepfather who threatened to kill me all the time in private when my mother wasn't around. And I didn't want to tell my mother because I knew how she was. And they were both drug addicts at the time. So I was like, the Grateful Dead shows provided me with something that I would never ever change in my lifetime. They provided me with a family environment. 98% of the time it was a positive, loving experience, and it was predictable. And so I became addicted to them because everybody knew me, even the staff. And it was like a positive experience for me, and stability in the, like, more stability than I had at home. And everyone recognized me, and it was just like a magical thing. Actually, sometimes it was magical, like, the vibe that you got from everyone, and the music was magical. I don't think I could ever replace it with very few other live shows. And I've been to thousands of live shows, okay, music shows or concerts, but there is nothing that could replace that vibe of family environment. And it was a good family environment, even despite the drug use that went on there. It was a positive experience for me that I would never ever give up for a second, because I learned a lot about myself. And it was stability in amongst chaos. When I was a teenager, I started going at 13. So it got to the point where I was allowed to go for about a year. And then my mother realized that on Mondays, after the 3-day campouts or whatever, they would have 3-day shows, 3 days in a row, like at Laguna Seca or Ventura. And I would go with some of her friends as quote unquote chaperones, which wasn't really the case. At any rate, um, you know, um, she would notice I would miss school on Monday because I was so tired, this and that. And so then I just started saving up my lunch money, and I worked too. She taught me how to do union payroll for a union glazing company in the Bay Area, and I would do payroll for them after school and then all throughout the summer months when I was out of school. And anyway, I learned how to do payroll then. So I would save up my money, and she told me I couldn't go any longer because I was missing school on Mondays. Well, I would just run away. And it got to the point where I would always come back home, and I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't a bad kid in any other sense, but it was just more stability. It felt more comforting than it did at home. So, at any rate, um, I would just run away when she said I couldn't go to the show that weekend because they played a lot in California at that point. Um, they were local. So, at any rate, I would just run away, and um, yeah, that's what I would do. And that wasn't a great thing to do, but I'd always come back, and um, it became a thing. But eventually, she had she had permanent posters made up of me. Have you seen this child? And it had me in a tie-dye shirt and a picture of me, and she would hand it out to the staff, and the staff knew me. And then it got to the point where the staff would even be like, no, we haven't. Oh, and then finally, they were like, okay, you got to go home now. So I'd go home, but she had permanent posters. And she knew that I would always come home, but she on the last day of she got to the point where she wouldn't even wait till the last day of the festival or the 3-day camp out or whatever it was at Laguna Seca, wherever it was in the state or in the country. And she would come with somebody to pick me up, and I would always find her. But anyway, yeah. But it wasn't like it. But it was like a stability. It was like a good, positive environment, and I would never give that up, even though, despite the fact that I probably abused some psychedelic drugs during that time, it was more stable and positive than my home environment, and it was like something that I would never have changed in my upbringing, because it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about community and community living and being there for one another, and really like just the magic that went on, like the positive magic that went on at the shows, and just like the enchantment, like fairy enchantment type stuff. That's really like on a positive level. It was very good for me in a cosmic kind of way, because I connected to the universe so much during that time that I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't change it. That part of my life, like the Grateful Dead shows, and I went to a lot of other shows during this time and throughout my whole life. I mean, I've been to thousands, like I said, but yeah, that's why I went to 154 Grateful Dead shows till Jerry. Well, I moved away before, I had to run away before Jerry got sick. But anyway, I was really young when I started, but from 13 to 17, I went to like almost every show that they did throughout the country. So anyway, I just wanted to elaborate on that. That's part of my past and part of who I am. And I don't regret it. Honestly, I don't regret it one bit. But yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to explain and elaborate on why I went to so many shows. And I love you all. And I hope you're having, again, a wonderful Saturday night. I'll talk to you later. Bye.